Good evening. My name is Thurman Greco, and the name of this show is Let's Live with Thurman Greco, and it's coming to you from scenic downtown Woodstock, New York. And the show's subject this evening is Reiki. And this is going to be a special Reiki session, and I'm going to run it on YouTube, Let's Live with Thurman Greco YouTube, Reiki. So that if you see something that you would like to use in your own practice, you'll be able to go back and check on it and practice it and rerun it and whatever, so that it becomes easier for you. But we're going to start with a Reiki session. And Miss Elise, can we conjure up an intention?
Oh, that would be great.
What would be a good intention for this evening?
I guess a good intention. There's a lot of chaos going on.
Yes, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of stress in our lives this evening.
Peace.
I think peace is wonderful. So our intention is going to be peace this evening. It's always good if you can begin each session with an intention. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's just too much going on around you. But there's so much going on around us here that we really did need an intention, and I'm really glad that you thought of peace. So that's what we'll do tonight. We are going to begin with the Reiki at your head, and we're going to start off with several head cranial positions. And this is like one of the head positions. And I'm going to get a handle on this, and then we're going to do the symbols. And I'm going to do, this is the Seiki Heiki, and then this is the Hon Shaze Shonin. And then I'm going to repeat the Chokure again. The first time I ever had Reiki, it was back in the 80s, and I really didn't know anything about it. I went for a weekend in West Virginia to a spa, and I was offered several different kinds of massage, and Reiki was included. And the woman that did the massage, she gave me a 1-hour massage, and then she gave me a 1-hour Reiki session. And she did not utter the sounds of the symbols. And instead of uttering the sounds of the symbols, she formed the symbols in her mouth with her tongue, which was very, very interesting. And what did I know? I had never heard of it before or not. But we've got this one session. We have our intention, which is peace. And we are going to go now to the second head position. And this is a really nice Reiki position because this puts your fingers and your hands down at the occipital ridge, which is really, really nice. And it allows the Reiki energy, it invites the Reiki energy to come and offer peace to you. And this is a position that you could use this is a basic position, head position, which is used on everybody that receives a Reiki session. But it can also be if you're offering first aid possibly to a person on the floor of a building or beside the road or whatever, because it doesn't move them, and it does offer quite a bit. And I do feel a lot of tingling, and I feel heat, and I feel calm, And one of the things that I'm going to do now is I am going to take my hands and I am going to go under, and I'm going to go along the spine, along the cervical spine. We're going to go back up, and we're going to go again here. The energy that I am receiving now, that I am feeling, that I am observing, is very, very strong. I could probably stay here for a whole hour. And you know, I have had a couple of students. I had one student, she stayed with me, she did become a Reiki master teacher, and she had to always use music, and she had to always use the Reiki CD where it had a bong about every 4 or 5 minutes, because if she didn't have the bong, she would never leave one position. She would get in the position and she would never leave. So we are now at this position. Let me go once more. We just go right behind to the cervical spine and we come right up. We go to the base of the skull, and then we go up to the top of the skull. And now I am going to take a bit of paper towel . Reiki is a modality that does not require much. Reiki and reflexology both are very comfortable in places like bus stations and emergency room floors and different things like that, because it works with what is available. And I have a little bit of oil, and it's a very light oil. You don't have to use oil. You can use nothing if that's what you want to. And I'm going to offer some massage to the ears. And this is very, very relaxing. And this works for all kinds of animals. It doesn't have to be just a human being. This can be your pet. It can be your cat. It can be your dog. It can be a little baby, a little human baby. It can be whatever. And what I like to do is go through the whole outside portion of the ear. And then I like to give it some gentle pulls, because these are long, luscious pulls. And this is a Reiki, this is offering Reiki to her ears. And of course, when you think about reflexology, there are 3 different kinds of reflexology. There's hand reflexology, there's foot reflexology, and then there's ear reflexology. And ear reflexology does involve offering attention to the ears. And I don't teach it. I used to teach it, but I don't teach the ears. It's too intense. But you see, we're right here. We're right in front of the ear now. And now I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go along the throat, and I'm going to go along the bottom of the ear, and I'm going to go right under the earlobe and right along the jawline. Because this is one of the most stressful locations in the body. When a person is stressed, the jaw becomes very, very tight. And so we are offering peace, and if you want to offer peace to someone, this is a good thing to do. And if you are going to use an oil, you can use any kind of a body oil. You can even use safflower oil. You can use, olive oil, although olive oil is a little heavy. But I know that when I first started working in Virginia with oils, with clients, it was hard to get a professional olive oil. You had a professional body oil. And I knew several massage therapists who didn't even do that. They just used safflower oil. But I didn't. I always liked to have something that had a little bit of an aroma. So now we have gone around the ears, and now I have my fingers behind the ear, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to work with this part of the forehead right here. This is where the third eye is. And of course, this is a very sensitive part. And when people are stressed, as we all are right now, the third eye is stressed too. And then I'm going to go along the eye ridge right here. And you know, all the time, you do have Reiki. This is part of it. And this works. You know, if a person comes to you, if you're going to offer Reiki to someone and they come to you and you can tell that they're really stressed out, they can have makeup on. It's okay. You're not going to damage the makeup. You're not going to bother any of that. They're going to go out of here with nothing disturbed, because Reiki really does not. Now, we come up here to the forehead. We have our hands. Now, this is a definite hold along the forehead and the hairline, and then we take the thumbs and we go across the forehead. And this is really, really, this is peace-provoking. It brings peace. And you know, one of the things that we need to do, we all need to do, is when you get ready to work on somebody. Now, if you are a Reiki practitioner, you're not going to have much problem with this because your hands are going to always be warm. But if you are not a Reiki practitioner and you decide to do some of this ear work or forehead work or something of that nature on somebody's face, warm up your hands first. Never, if you can help it, never approach and never initially touch a person with cold hands. And I know that with Elise, we did not approach with cold hands, and that's because this is Reiki. And with Reiki, our hands are always warm, which is it's a wonderful thing. It does change it changes. You know, Reiki changes your life in ways that you never expect, because once you become a Reiki practitioner, if you have children and you walk up to your children and you want to touch your children, you're going to touch them like you always have, but it's going to feel different because it's going to be warm and because it's going to be Reiki. So this is what happens with Reiki. And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to bring in the Reiki. You don't have to be preoccupied about the Reiki. None of that is an issue. It's just going to happen. So and of course, the tingling that you experience is a normal thing for people with Reiki. This is what happens when you are a Reiki practitioner. And so whatever body work you adopt, whatever body work you do or not do, it doesn't make any difference. If you spend your day doing facials, or if you spend your day just cleaning house or whatever, Reiki will be a part of that. And that's a wonderful little bonus there. Now I'm going to go back. We've done three holes to the head. We have done the ear work. We have offered some light work to the chin and to the throat, and we have worked on the cervical spine for just a little bit. We started with C7 and worked up, and now we're working on the shoulders, because you know there's a lot of stress there. there is a lot of stress. And if you are standing in the grocery line and you're waiting for your turn to check out, look around you and look at how the people hold their shoulders. How do they hold their heads? How do they hold their bodies? It's a stress. Stress can do a lot, but you can recover from that. You do not have to have that for the rest of your life. And even if you do not have Reiki, you can do this work, and you can do the face. You can work along the jawline. You can work along the ears. You can work along the eyebrows. You can work along the hairline. You can work along the third eye. These are things that you can do. And it's always a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you can turn on music. We don't have any music in here because there's always music that has copyrights. And that's something that I don't know anything at all about, so I just don't have any music. But I know that for some of my YouTube programs, there was a gentleman who did use music that was not copyrighted, but that's just another realm. I haven't gone there at all. And I'm getting a little bit involved in that now because I'm working on a book called But for Gabriel. And we got a cover. We got a cover of Archangel Gabriel. And that was just something the publisher did. I have no idea how that worked. I really have no idea. Now, you have received work to the head and the ears and the neck and the throat. We've gone to the shoulder, and now we are here. Now there are, Reiki works on the chakras, and there are chakras on your arms, there are chakras on your hands, there are chakras all everywhere. So one of the things that you can do is you can go to the hands and send Reiki to the hands. And go along. I'm going to show you something here. Take the wrist and very gently move it back and move it forward and then go down. Everybody, I don't know anybody that does not use a computer now. And this is something that is really, really helpful. And when we think about carpal tunnel, people think of wrists as carpal tunnel. Well, you know, carpal tunnel begins in the shoulder. It really does. Because it's an injury, it's an insult to your muscles, and it begins in the shoulders and then goes down the arm. And finally, the injury goes down as far as your wrist and your fingers and your palms, and then you can begin to see it. And you know, when you go to a physician, they can find the carpal tunnel just by looking at your hand. So here we go. We've got the hand. We have these fingers, and we're going to go like this. And this is a gentle rotation of the palm. And this is very, very peaceful work. Very peaceful work. Wonderful peaceful work. And go through all the fingers. And notice how, if you are a Reiki practitioner, and you go down to the palms, notice how each finger is going to feel different. And your left hand is going to feel different from the right hand, because that's how it goes. We have one hand is different. But always definitely allow the release of each arm and each hand. And this is as far as I can tell, there are no contraindications to any of this. I cannot see any contraindications to gently working somebody's palm and to working their fingers. And if there's an injury, then you're not going to do this. But you know, if a person has an injured hand, or they have an injured arm, or they have an injured elbow, you don't have to do these things. You can just gently hold it between the palms of your hands and just send Reiki. That's what you do. Yeah. Now I'm going to get a paper towel and go here. And you can have the person can be under a quilt or sheets, they can be on a sofa, they can be, I can remember when I first moved here to Woodstock 20 years ago, I ran across people who practiced Reiki, and everybody that I ran across who practiced Reiki, I called them up and I booked a session. And I went to their house, or I went wherever they were, and I received my Reiki session. I was going for Reiki sessions all over the place. I was even going down to New Paltz offering Reiki, and it was so funny because when I moved to Woodstock, I went to open a bank account, and I went to the bank which is now Ulster Savings, and before that it was TD Bank, and then before that it was something else, and I don't remember what it was, but that's where I went when it was something else. And the young man was the manager there, and I was opening my account, and he was the sweetest thing and very professional and smiling, and he was always so nice to me. And I filled out the paperwork, and when I filled out the paperwork, I wrote down a Reiki practitioner. And he read the paperwork and he said, "Oh, Ms. Greco," he said, "I don't think I'd go with that one." He said, "You know, everybody in Reiki, everybody in Woodstock does Reiki." He said, "Heck, Ms. Greco, I'm a Reiki too." And so I had to laugh, because then I started out the next week and I went over to an Episcopal church, and I went to one of their Wednesday evening prayer groups, and we were introducing ourselves, and I told everybody that I was a Reiki practitioner, and none of them knew what it was. So you're going to always find people they don't know at all, but that's okay. That's part of the adventure. And when I first started out, I didn't know Reiki Schmeiki. I didn't know what it was. And Lord, if I had known the changes that were going to happen to my life as a result of Reiki. I've got books now. I teach classes. Who would have known? Who would have known? So now we have done this one hand. And now one thing I am doing, and I'm going to lean over here and do this. We just go down to the end here on the hand, and just go all the way down. And it's very interesting, because I've been working on this left arm, and it's quite a bit warmer now than the right arm. That's interesting, isn't it? The warmth that we have in Reiki is an amazing, amazing thing. I don't know where it comes from. It comes from the universe. That's what it is. It's the energy. So we're going to start here, and we're going to go here. We're going to work like we did. This is very important to do this. And you know, we're not doing anything hard. We're not pressing deep. This is gentle, compassionate, peaceful moves. And this is really helpful, because everybody these days, everybody knows about computers, and we all are working with computer keyboards all day long, and we all have these problems. And so this is helpful. And this is so, and you're going to notice that the left arm is going to respond in ways totally different from the right arm, which is to me a very interesting thing. And try to work with each finger. Try to offer, send peace, send Reiki, send healing, send wonderful things to everyone. Now we're going to take the wrist and gently move it. And then we are also going to work the upper arm and up to the shoulder, because that's where, if there's any stress or damage or anything that's happening to that wrist or to the palm or to the fingers, it started up here in the shoulder. That's where it went. Now, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get another paper towel and I'm going to put it under your hands. And the reason I'm doing that is because of the oil that we're using. And the oil is not going to hurt anything, but I like to do that anyway. Now, I'm going to get 2 more batches of paper towels, and I'm going to go down. We have done Reiki, we've gone down the chakras, and now we're going to go down, the chakras. And you can feel on a Reiki session all of the chakras. You can feel the body there. And Reiki does feel different on different people. In the beginning, I didn't realize that. It took me a long time to realize that every body responds differently to Reiki. And there are, once or twice in my life, I've run across people that were resisting Reiki. And you know it. It comes right back at you. But for the most part, people are very, very responsive to Reiki because it's warm, it's comforting, it's healing, it brings peace. It's everything we need in today's market, that's for sure. Now, I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to do the knees, because our knees, there are chakras in our knees, and our knees are all stressed. I don't know anybody whose knees are not stressed. They're stressed because we're wearing ill-fitting shoes. They're stressed because we are stressed as a total person. They are stressed because our gaits are not, the way we walk and run is not correct. And they are stressed because we are forced to sit in positions for long periods of time that are not comforting. There's a million reasons why our knees are stressed out. But I can remember that a couple of years ago, for whatever reason, all of a sudden I had a terrible pain in my knee, in my right knee. I couldn't believe it. So I went over to the walk-in orthopedic clinic in town, and the orthopod looked at my knees for about 2.5 minutes and said, "Well, you've got arthritis of the knee." And then gave me and took care of it. And within 5 days, I had no more discomfort. And then when I went and saw my regular physician, she said, "They did that in 5 minutes? How did that happen?" you know, and then, well, I said, well, I don't know. And then she said, okay, well, I've got to see your knees right this minute. So she did, and the minute she saw my right knee, she said, this is the worst. So I had this terrible case of arthritis of the knee, and I was walking around and I didn't even feel any discomfort. And I am a person for whom the shoes fit. I do everything to get everything correct. But, you know, stress in life takes over. And I'm sure that a lot of people in our country right now have come down with attacks of arthritis because the stress is just, it's too much. So offering Reiki to the knees is a very, very positive and peaceful thing to do. And now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to bring a chair and I am going to offer Reiki to the feet. And of course, for me, because I'm a reflexologist, offering Reiki to the feet is playtime. And it took me years to realize that, because when I first learned reflexology, everything had to be just so and in a certain way and all those things. And then I flew out to California, maybe 10 or 15 years later, and attended another reflexology school. And the owner of the school said, well, when you offer Reiki to people's feet, you're playing with them. You just do whatever feels good. And hey, so let's get loose. Let's play. Let's enjoy some oil, and let's enjoy the peace that goes. And I for this evening, I am using a body lotion that you can get anywhere. I didn't bring tonight some esoteric type that's very hard to find, but I am using a kind of body lotion that you can find at a grocery store or at a pharmacy, and it feels good and has a very light aroma. It's very easy to use. It goes on the feet very carefully. I didn't do anything this evening that is difficult to do. Nothing is hard to do. And we're starting off when we offer Reiki to the feet. Because you know, with the feet, with Reiki and the feet, all of the Reiki points in the body are reflected in the bottom of the feet. So it's a really nice thing to do. And when you offer Reiki to someone's feet, you can do something that feels good, that they enjoy, and you can realize that also what you're doing is very healthy. And that's what we're doing. I know that there was a time in my life when I studied to be an esthetician. And working with an estheticians can be very spiritual people. So I found a young esthetician in my dermatologist's office, and she was brand new, and I thought, well, I'll give her, I'll go get, because I had got out of the habit. There was a time in my life when I received a facial every week. I mean, that was just part of my life. And now it's been, I don't know, years. So I went and I got a facial. And I was thinking all these things, and here I was getting a facial and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, she started working on my hands and my feet. And it was the most wonderful, juicy, fabulous, grateful, peaceful. It was holy. It was just absolutely gorgeous. So by the time she got through with my hands and feet, I booked another session. I thought I've been going years without a facial. And I missed so much. You know, when we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't take care of each other, we miss things. We miss some of the finer things in life. And you know, now is a time where there's so much happening in the world, there's so much happening locally, there's so much happening that we really need to take time out for self-care and for also care for those around us. And you don't have to, it helps if you're a Reiki master teacher, it helps if you've gone to massage school, it helps if you're what, but there are lots of things that you can do for a person that bring them peace and bring them calm and bring them a smile. And that's what counts. And that do not hurt anybody. None of these things hurt anybody. So I'm gonna pull each of these toes. Our toes are so often squashed in socks, squashed in shoes, squashed in whatever. So it's nice to just give them a little freedom there for a few minutes. I think that's one of the nicest things about having pets in the house. Their feet are free, and they walk around the house, and they get along well. It's a wonderful thing. So that's what we do. And then you put the socks back on with the oil and with the lotion. And you know, if you have children, say you have a neighbor who, for whatever reason, is feeling stressed. Sometimes if you can talk them into letting you practice a little massage on their ears, or a little massage on their hands, or a little massage on their feet. It's a wonderful thing to do. And of course, if you have children, or if you have brothers and sisters, or if you have cousins, or if you have other people where you can include them in your healing life. It's an important thing. Now, this part of the foot is the spine. Now, I know that at the beginning of the session, we worked along here, along the cervical spine. And then this is the shoulder. And everybody has shoulder issues. I don't know anyone who does not have shoulder issues. And if you don't think people have shoulder issues, all you have to do is watch them as they go about their days, and you'll see that one shoulder is higher than the other one shoulder sticks out further than the other one shoulder, and this is just life. This is how we go through life. And used to, and I don't know if they still do the work or not, there was a woman by the name of Ida Rolf. And when you went to Ida Rolf and got work, when she got through with you, now it took several sessions, but when she got through with you, your left shoulder matched your right shoulder, your left hip matched your right hip, your legs were both the same length. You know, often people think, well, one leg is longer than the other one. Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. A lot of it has to do with how we stand. And it has to do with the kind of shoes that we wear. And it has to do with the life that you lead. So that's, you know, you may not have one leg longer than the other one. And I know that several months ago I was going to a physical therapist, and I started looking at her, and I realized that one of her shoulders was about 2 inches longer than the other one. And, you know, it happens to all of us. But doing Reiki and offering some care to someone, or offering self-care, is an important thing that you can do. Now we talk about this part of the foot being the spine. And then this part, which is the outside of the foot, this is the lymphatic system. And it helps to keep your lymphatic system working. It helps to have everything working properly. So I would go with that. And you know, sometimes when people comment that maybe they have a headache, or maybe they have a backache, or maybe whatever, if you get a chance to offer some gentle care to a hand or some fingers or to a foot or to the ears, you can offer some peace and calm and maybe lower the blood pressure a few points. So this has been a wonderful, wonderful session. And now we're going to do this. We're holding the foot in the heel and then going around. And then now we're going the other way. And we're going to offer some So this is a kind of a Reiki session that I hope that will inspire some of you to share with other people whenever you get the opportunity. And in the meantime, I'm going to end this session. This person's very calm. And I thank each and every one of you for tuning in to this program this evening. And I thank Ellen so much for putting in all the extra work. I know, isn't it wonderful? We are so grateful for this opportunity to give this session to you this evening. And once again, thank you and enjoy your weekend.